Help me hit 7,000 subscribers. Support the video with a like and share your thoughts in the comments. I read everyone. Thank you. I never imagined a simple office party could unravel a side of Evelyn I hadn't truly seen before. It was one of those spring evenings where the air carried a faint sweetness, and the office hall was lit with warm lights that reflected off the polished floors. Everyone was laughing, chatting, and dancing, the music pulsing just enough to make the edges of stress from the week melt away. I had been quietly enjoying myself, nursing a drink, watching Evelyn from across the room. She looked radiant, the kind of beauty that drew every gaze, yet she was mine, or at least I thought she was. We were standing near the corner, her hand brushing against mine occasionally. Then she turned to me, a sly smirk playing on her lips. "Marcus," she said, teasing but with a glint I couldn't quite place. "I don't want to dance with you." I froze for a moment, caught somewhere between amusement and confusion. This wasn't the Evelyn I knew. She was usually the first to drag me onto the dance floor, laughing at my stiff moves. "You don't?" I asked, trying to keep my voice casual, though a tiny edge of doubt had crept in. "Yes," she said firmly, yet with that same teasing tone. "Tonight, I'm not in the mood for you." Before I could even process it, two other women approached us. They were laughing, the kind of easy charm that seemed to radiate from them effortlessly. One of them tilted her head at me, eyes sparkling with mischief. "Since you're free," she said, gesturing toward the empty space beside her, "why don't you dance with us?" I felt a flicker of surprise, followed by hesitation. My eyes darted toward Evelyn, expecting to see irritation or perhaps her usual playful competitiveness. But what I saw made my stomach twist, a flash of panic across her face. She stepped forward abruptly, almost as if she feared she had lost control of the situation. I didn't move, not yet. The music swelled, and a few others started forming small circles, clapping and laughing. "Marcus," I reminded myself, "just enjoy the moment. Take it in stride." And yet, the tension between us was palpable. Evelyn's eyes met mine, darting between me and the two women, her hand twitching as though she wanted to intervene but wasn't sure how. I decided to step forward slowly. The two women smiled, encouragingly. Their hands extended toward me, and without thinking, I took one's hand. The dance began, a gentle sway at first, then picking up with the rhythm of the song. Laughter bubbled from the group around us. And that's when Evelyn's reaction hit me. The panic deepened, and she rushed forward, reaching out almost frantically. It was then that I realized something I hadn't before. Evelyn wasn't just playful. She cared about the image, about control, about the unspoken boundaries she expected to maintain. Her reaction wasn't anger. It was fear, a silent plea that her carefully maintained world wasn't being disrupted. And I, caught in the middle of surprise, amusement, and something darker, felt a strange mixture of empowerment and guilt. As the song ended, I returned to her side, casually, letting her catch her breath. She didn't say anything at first, just looked at me, her chest rising and falling quickly. Finally, she spoke, voice low. "Marcus, She stopped herself, struggling with whatever words she couldn't fully form. I placed a hand on her shoulder gently. "It's okay. You don't have to explain." Her eyes softened for a brief moment, but the tension lingered. I could feel the unspoken thoughts hovering between us. The silent questions, the fears, the jealousy that wasn't entirely hers, and the curiosity that wasn't entirely mine. If this story resonates, hit like and share it. Let more people experience the twist of unexpected moments in relationships. The evening continued, but I noticed subtle shifts. Evelyn stayed closer, though her glances were cautious, wary. She didn't speak of what had just happened, and neither did I. Yet the room around us seemed to vibrate differently, like the world had momentarily tilted, and only we knew it. I found myself thinking back to the two women, laughing and carefree, and realized that moments like this were tests in disguise. Not just of patience, or of charm, or of loyalty, but of understanding each other's boundaries without breaking the delicate rhythm of connection. As another song began, I felt her hand brush against mine once more. It wasn't the playful tug of before. It was tentative, like an unspoken question. And I knew that, for better or worse, the night was far from over. Drop a comment below. How would you handle a moment where jealousy and attraction collide like this? Let's discuss. The lights dimmed slightly as people formed new circles, and the music shifted into a slower beat. Evelyn and I moved slightly apart, observing each other through the periphery of the crowd. The tension didn't dissipate. Instead, it transformed, growing into something curious, almost magnetic. I realized then that these subtle battles, these quiet confrontations, were the essence of long-term relationships. They weren't about dominance or proving points. They were about understanding, testing limits, and discovering the layers beneath the surface. As the night went on, I noticed Evelyn relaxing slightly, though her vigilance never fully disappeared. There was an unspoken agreement. Tonight, the boundaries had been tested, but no lines had been crossed. And I felt a strange satisfaction in knowing that I had navigated the moment with patience, humor, and just enough boldness to assert myself without overstepping. The night seemed to stretch endlessly, the music flowing like a backdrop to our unspoken conversation. I kept stealing glances at Evelyn, trying to read her thoughts through her subtle expressions, her clenched jaw, the way her fingers fiddled with her bracelet. She wasn't angry, but there was something she hadn't forgiven yet. Either me, the situation, or maybe herself. I decided to break the silence, careful with my words. Evelyn, I began softly, you don't have to feel pressured to dance with anyone. I just wanted you to know I'm okay with whatever happens tonight. Her lips curved slightly, almost imperceptibly, but the tension didn't leave her shoulders. She looked away toward the crowd, then back at me, her eyes reflecting that mix of amusement and frustration that had always kept me on my toes. Just then, one of the women who had danced with me earlier approached us again, this time laughing softly. Don't take it personally, she said to Evelyn. He's just having fun. There was a subtle nod in my direction, an acknowledgement of the unspoken boundaries. Yet Evelyn's reaction was immediate. She stepped slightly in front of me, a protective shield, her expression both sharp and worried. I noticed then that this wasn't about me. It never had been. This was about her perception of what should happen, of how she wanted control in moments where spontaneity threatened her carefully structured world. And that realization made me look at her differently, not with frustration, but with understanding. As the night wore on, I found myself laughing at the absurdity of the situation. Two friends, a party, music that seemed to sync perfectly with every awkward heartbeat. I saw Evelyn loosen, her shoulders relaxing just a little, though the glint of vigilance never left her eyes. It was then I remembered a lesson I'd learned long ago. People rarely change instantly, and trust isn't rebuilt in a single night. But moments like this, tiny, chaotic, awkward, had the power to test, stretch, and eventually reinforce the bond between us. The DJ switched to a slower song, the kind that made the room feel smaller and more intimate. I held out my hand, not as a challenge or an invitation, but as a simple gesture. Evelyn hesitated, then placed her hand in mine. Our bodies moved in rhythm with the music, slower now, more deliberate. I could feel the subtle shifts, the push and pull of emotions that had remained unspoken all evening. Her head rested lightly against my shoulder for a fleeting second. The gesture was fleeting, yet it carried weight, a silent acknowledgement of the evening's trials, a promise to navigate the unknown together. Share your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever faced a moment where emotions and pride collided? How did you handle it? Let's talk about it. As the song ended, I noticed Evelyn taking a deep breath, her eyes bright with a mixture of relief and something I couldn't immediately name. The tension had not vanished, but it had shifted. Instead of panic, there was curiosity. Instead of anxiety, there was engagement. We moved to the side, letting the crowd flow around us, and I realized how much this night had mirrored the unspoken patterns of our relationship. Small tests, miscommunications, moments of vulnerability, and the silent understanding that love wasn't just about shared laughter or grand gestures. It was about navigating the unexpected together. A thought struck me then. Perhaps this was a turning point. Not because of any grand revelation, but because of the quiet moments that made us notice each other in ways we hadn't before. The panic, the laughter, the hesitation. They all formed a tapestry of our bond, messy, imperfect, but undeniably ours. I watched Evelyn smile, a brief, genuine curve of her lips, and I felt that old spark flicker. It wasn't the dramatic fireworks of our early years, but something steadier, deeper. Something that suggested resilience and understanding, a quiet confidence that we could face awkwardness, jealousy, and surprise without letting it erode the connection we had built. She leaned closer, whispering softly, almost shyly, "Marcus, I guess I overreacted." I smiled, squeezing her hand gently. "Maybe a little," I admitted. "But it's okay. We're learning. Every time we stumble, we just keep going." The night drew to a close, the last songs fading into the soft chatter of those preparing to leave. I felt a calm satisfaction, not just from surviving the moment, but from understanding it. Evelyn and I had faced an unexpected challenge, and instead of conflict, we had found subtle clarity and renewed respect for each other's boundaries. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to leave a comment sharing your perspective, and subscribe for more stories that explore the delicate complexities of relationships. Walking out into the cool night air, I felt a strange mixture of relief and anticipation. Evelyn matched my pace, her hand brushing mine occasionally, each touch a reminder that the evening had been more than just dancing. It had been a lesson in patience, understanding, and the quiet power of navigating emotions together. And as we stepped into the waiting taxi, heading home, I realized something essential. Relationships weren't about never facing awkward moments. They were about how we responded when life or pride or a couple of mischievous strangers threw us off balance. And tonight, Marcus and Evelyn had found their rhythm again, one subtle step at a time.